So I know y'all weren't expecting this, but we gonna do a little bit of a reaction video. I seen this video come out about Fortnite's metaverse experiment. I've seen a lot of discourse on it. I haven't watched it myself. We gonna get in, we gonna get active. Hopefully it's a good video. I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed if it's a bunch of yappetry, but without further cook, we gonna let them cook of sorts. What you got for me, gang? What do you got for me?
Fortnite is a game that has reached heights that
Ooh, why are you not capturing my audio?
no other game has managed to. But at the same time, it has also fumbled numerous opportunities in a way that genuinely hurts my soul. Do you remember when Peter Griffin was added to the game? Everyone was confused as to why we had to get this muscular version of Peter instead of his original design. It was a great skin and all, but why couldn't we get the original Peter? Some people said that Peter had to be muscular because if he wasn't, he would have had too large of a hitbox. While Seth MacFarlane said that he heard Peter's actual body would have been too much for the budget. And I could have lived with either of those explanations. They would have been fair enough. If it wasn't for the fact that the giant chicken from the same show was added the same season with an arguably bigger hitbox than Peter could have ever had. You see the
okay, right. To really hop on this point real quick, I see this talking point a little bit too much than I personally care to discuss, but in my personal opinion, the reason why I believe that Peter had that kind of physique is really because he is a battle pass skin, right? And I know recently Fortnite has started the initiative of wanting to kind of transition away from having passes be exclusively stuck in being battle passes and allowing you to purchase them in the shop. So Peter being that kind of buff, muscular form to me is telling me nowadays, hey, maybe down the line we can just drop a real authentic Peter Griffin. And to be utterly honest with you, I feel like that's a way better way to go down, because not a lot of people are going to want the muscular thing. If they drop the real hand Peter Griffin, right, you're going to want to be able to purchase that, right? So not like maybe this is a hindsight of 2020 kind of thing, but I really feel like that's such like a non-issue. It's like, who the fuck cares? But we gonna let him keep.
The thing about Fortnite's development direction is that it is constantly sabotaged by poor judgment and out-of-touch decisions. Have you ever seen someone who's so rich that they don't even know what to do with their money? Like a billionaire who outbids everyone on a Mercedes-Benz 300 SLR Uhlenhaut, only to cover it in a Galaxy wrap. I have never seen a more clueless yet egotistical corporation like that of Epic Games. A company which I can honestly describe as arrogant. Because the people who lead this company's decisions always believe they know what's best for their games, even when they are clearly fumbling the easiest of decisions. Alright guys, I know you love the OG season, so we're gonna bring it back. Woo! Except the map is gonna be like weird and not OG, huh? And it's gonna be like Warzone Rebirth this time. What? Why couldn't you just leave it unchanged? I don't know how to do that. This is a development team with lead songs in Fortnite Festival.
Oh, I jumped ahead on accident, but where is it? Okay, I assume in this.
Woo!
Wait, hold on. Let me.
Except the map is.
Okay, I assume this point you talking about Fortnite Reload, right? The thing about Fortnite Reload is that it's supposed to be a fast-paced game mode. A lot of the main complaints that you see about Fortnite in general is how slow and sluggish it can feel to get to the main point when you're fighting and interacting a lot with other players. Like, I'm assuming that's what you're getting at by using Reload, and by using Reload as your example, you were being completely generally disingenuous, right? Because one, we have the roadmap leak, first and foremost, and in that leak, you know, it's talked about that, hey, it's going to be Chapter 2, Season 1, 2, and 3. Now, if you want to assume that Epic Games is going to swap it up a little bit, which I feel like they could do or they couldn't do, they've also said they are going to full-on do an OG type season, right? I don't think Reload is a replacement for that. Like, you're comparing apples to oranges, and if anything, Reload is good for the game because it's a fast-paced environment that allows you to be more active. You can play more aggressive. You can, if you primarily play Fortnite and you aren't a fan of the slow, methodical battle royale mode, then Reload's perfectly up your alley. I don't see why this is a point. Maybe he's going to extrapolate on it further, but this just seems like such a stupid ass point to die on. But let me let him cook.
It's gonna be like weird and not OG, huh? And it's gonna be like Warzone Rebirth this time. What? Why couldn't you?
For the record, let me put that on the record. I did not play Warzone. I don't like that game at all. So maybe I'm missing something about the analogy, but let's let him cook.
Just leave it unchanged. I don't know how to do that. This is a development team with leadership in charge that has never heard the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Sprinting used to feel smooth. Now it's an over-engineered slog. Skins used to have rarities. Now they don't. No studio makes me as angry as Epic Games. And I don't care if it's just me. I will despise them until the globe burns. Scorched earth. Now you might be thinking, This YouTuber is such a negative Nancy.
What is he
Total
cooking?
negative Nancy. Why
What
do you
is he
hate Epic
cooking?
Games so much? Yeah, why do you hate Epic Games so much? Because they take good opportunities and ruin them. Case in point, these three. LEGO Fortnite, Rocket Racing, and Fortnite Festival. Released as the main events of Chapter 5, these were meant to be staples on par with Battle Royale, and upon release, they each had a good amount of traction. But in a very small amount of time, they lost the majority of their players, with one of the most dramatic fall-offs being LEGO Fortnite. The fascinating thing about these games is that they were actually planned years in advance. You see, back in 2017, when Fortnite was popping off, it did in fact get to Epic's head, and this is the proof. All the way back then, a sketch was made about the future of
That's
Fortnite
interesting.
and how the people behind
I
it
actually did not know that. That's actually kind of cool to hear about. Is that they had plans since 2017 to kind of expand upon this like world. It kind of makes sense seeing the direction that they went in, but that's actually interesting to really think about.
thought it should become a hub for gaming, a place where you could enjoy music, PvP, survival, and more. You know how up your own quad crasher you gotta be to want to turn your battle royale into a multi-genre gaming hub? Can you?
But what's wrong with that though? What's wrong with someone wanting to take some and expand upon it more? Do you want to just be stuck in this little box when you could be so much more? I personally hold the belief that, you know, as someone who's not a fan of Festival, Rocket Racing, I think that their idea on paper to want to be something more isn't that bad. If anything, Fortnite has definitely kind of pushed the envelope a little bit, especially with their community made features. I feel like the creative mode and how that's kind of expanded into allowing creators to make their own money off of maps is phenomenal. It is an incredible thing. Do I think Epic is going about it the right way? I don't know. I don't think Fortnite becoming the next Roblox is a good idea, but if anything, I'm for it because it allows the community, the people who support Epic Games, to also get a little get back. They get money in their pocket, so I'm all for it in that sense. I feel like I know I keep saying it, but I don't feel like this dude got. I'm gonna let him cook. Let me stop.
Imagine if at the height of PUBG or Apex Legends popularity they said, no, this is more than a battle royale. This is a medium. This is Epic Games' unique arrogance. To their credit, it is impressive that they thought of this idea this far in advance and actually ended up doing it. But that doesn't mean they did a good job. For something that was so long in the making, these games were released in a rushed state. Probably because Epic wanted Chapter 5 to be a big spectacle, so they rushed these games out to meet the release deadline. But as you'll see in this video, releasing these games in a rushed state was a huge mistake, because it permanently hindered their momentum, and the amazing game hub paradise that would have been suffered as a result. LEGO Fortnite is no doubt the most infamous example. For those of you who don't know, this was essentially a Fortnite survival game with LEGO DNA, and I mean actual DNA baked into the animals. At first, there was a lot of hype for this game, because it seemed to be brimming with exciting new mechanics. This was not just a gimmicky LEGO muck. There were Breath of the Wild physics, Dark Souls combat, advanced villagers, and even temperature that changed with biomes. However, even though there were a lot of bells and whistles, the game lacked depth and content to fill out those mechanics. And in less than a week, most players realized that there really wasn't that much to do.
Okay, but like when you like, I get the point you're making. I fully understand as someone who was there when LEGO Fortnite came out, and personally, someone who holds the opinion. Let me make this clear. I hold the opinion that I think Chapter 5 in general was kind of a misstep, and the way they kind of went about incorporating the multi-hub thing, the multi-universe, whatever. But I feel like when you play a live service game and there's an issue of like being a content route, you know, it's at some point you kind of gotta expect that, hey, it's gonna be dealt with pretty soon. You're gonna get more content. Now, me personally, can I speak on LEGO Fortnite? I don't care, but I feel like he's kind of set it up Festival a little bit, because even a lot of the fun of playing a rhythm game is, hey, they added new songs to the game. There's new charting. Like, Fortnite is making great strides, but I don't know. I don't think this is a point to die on, because you can make the same argument about BR and how they kind of changed the season pass model, about how they've gate kept certain elements of the battle pass to take even longer. Sometimes, or us not even knowing about superstyles until like the mid-season point, right? Shit like that, you could argue it's kind of like them taking content and holding it back. I do believe nowadays it feels like as a whole there's less content, if you completely ignore the fact that they have to make content for I think 4 or 5 separate modes. But I don't know.
Sure, the world design was beautiful, but it also felt empty. The whole thing felt like a demo for Unreal Engine rather than a fleshed out game, and so the millions of players playing it soon turned into thousands. This, of course, is nothing new. Most games don't sustain their day one popularity for too long, but the drop-off here was particularly dramatic. This game went on from having a huge amount of discourse to most people dropping.
Okay, man, my personal opinion, this is a pet peeve of mine. If you were having a conversation about a game's success rate, do not whip out fucking Google Trends. Do not whip out fucking Google Trends, because a lot of time Google Trends is gonna accumulate and skew towards a new interest in a product or something, right? If you have a sustainable player count that's just playing the game and playing the game primarily just through playing the game, they get their updates through the game, right? Or they're conversing about through TikTok, Instagram, fucking Twitter, YouTube, or not YouTube, but like there's so many other variables you have to consider, and Google Trends does not do a good enough job, because not a lot of people are going to go out and tweet about Lego Fortnite, because it's going to hit a peak at some point. You could argue that the drop off is pretty dramatic, but I'd argue in that kind of situation that a lot of people will know about it. Like, you could argue over fucking Fortnite. Fortnite has had some incredible drop offs and peaks. I like, it just boggles my fucking mind. I feel like you had a case with the player count. It was a pretty good, strong case, but when you look at the fucking statistics, or when you whip out Google Trends, which is like a fucking, not necessarily biased statistic, but you're looking at it without any of the nuance of it, right? Like, it fucking pisses me off whenever we're having a conversation about relevancy or something else and you whip out fucking Google Trends. Because, like, it's just not going to tell the whole story that's needed.
It and forgetting that it existed. The solution to this, of course, would be to update the game and give people new content to explore, and you'd think this wouldn't be an issue. I mean, this is coming from the studio behind Fortnite Battle Royale, a game that is constantly updated. But ironically, LEGO Fortnite's updates were incredibly lacking. The game came out around December 7th, 2023, and by April 22nd, 2024, this is what the game had received: launch pads, hunting daggers, fishing rods, and an animal pen.
They also added cars and a wrench.
Believe it or not, none of this was enough to compel most people to come back. Fast forward to last month,
that's a fair point.
All that's been added since April was a Star Wars event and fast travel. Why does this feel like an indie game? Personally, the lack of content wasn't actually a big problem for me. I'm someone who digests games much slower than the average person. It takes me a long time to use all the content in most games I play because I tend to take things slower. Even though the player count was lower every time I hopped on the game myself, that didn't deter me from playing LEGO Fortnite, and I was perfect.
Okay, but LEGO Fortnite is a survival-based game, right? First and foremost, it's akin to Minecraft, right? So a lot of the content of being in a sandbox game is going to be, you know, you're building up your resources, you're expanding your base, you're cultivating farms, you're trying to make things, you know, on a much grander scale in that kind of sense. It's like complaining about Minecraft not having enough updates, even though technically there is enough content in the game to sustain yourself for a really long time. I feel like mentioning player count in relation to Lego Fortnite is only becoming weaker and weaker of a point, because a lot of the time, are you going to be playing Lego Fortnite with randoms? Like, let's be dead ass right now. Are you going to play Lego Fortnite with randoms? No. Most of the time, if you're going to play Lego Fortnite, you have a world set up with your friends, or you're going to be playing the game solo. So kind of in this mindset, I view that Lego Fortnite kind of is going to have a smaller but more dedicated fan base. And I feel like Epic Games in general, with reaching out to all these different avenues, they're kind of trying to see if people are going to be willing to purchase cosmetics for those modes, because that's how they're going to make most of their money, right? Player retention is one thing, player counts is one thing, but if you got a Elon Musk Cybertruck in the item shop, and you got some Elon Musk dick riders playing this game, they're going to go out, they're going to buy the Cybertruck, they're going to double dip. Or not necessarily double dip, but they're going to be more willing to spend that money. And I feel like that's kind of what their monetization scheme has moved out to. If you see new skins dropping in the shop, Black Cat, Iron Man, both of them having instrument bundles. So, hey, you buy this bundle, right? It's not you just get a pickaxe, glider, contrail, wrap. No, you get an instrument thrown into the mix, and they want you to spend a little bit more money. And I feel like it's working out to the extent that they feel like they're really getting enough money, right? I think that's where their monetization game kind of move towards. When I think about an example could be like how Microsoft is basically giving up the console generation because they don't give a fuck. They want you to get into their ecosystem of Game Pass and spend that money, because once they got that money consistently rolling in, I don't care. I'll give you $60 up front, but you keep spending money through a subscription service such as Fortnite Crew, we're going to be guaranteed $11.99 hitting our bank every single month. And I feel like if anything, that's the main, I guess, benefit to having all these side modes. But we won't let them continue.
Perfectly content playing the game as it was. Little did I know, this naivete would lead to one of the biggest heartbreaks I may ever experience. You see, after getting hooked on the game for a couple of days, I decided I was going to build a massive project. I was inspired, convinced that even though the game was abandoned by most players, that just meant there was more room for me to shine. I was going to become the Etho of LEGO Fortnite, and the Grian of LEGO Fortnite. And you know, while we're at it, and the Mumbo Jumbo, and the B-Dubs, Vintage Beef, Corral. The idea was to build a fortress that loosely resembled the city of Whiterun from Skyrim. I planned for my build to have a foundation that held up tons of decorated houses, all the while containing an underground system beneath the city. Buildings with multiple floors that I could find myself immersed in would surround me and cause me to forget about all my real-life problems. It would all be a part of what I built for the next few months to come. The ultimate sandbox experience. The best part was, because the LEGO villagers were so smart, they had the ability to do jobs, so I could actually have NPCs roaming my city and doing real work that made the city feel alive. The whole thing felt like playing Minecraft for the first time again. I would collect the resources I needed, fight off enemies, and enjoy the process all the way through. It was shaping up to be one of the greatest gaming experiences I had ever had. And then, something weird happened. While working on placing the upper floorboards of one of my houses, a banner appeared that said I was now building in a high complexity area. I didn't know what this meant, so I restarted the game. But to my horror, the message remained. Starting to fear the worst, I kept trying to install the floorboards, hoping it was only a fluke. But the message remained, hovering above my head like a cold diagnosis. To my horror, I realized I wouldn't be able to build my city anymore. I had somehow already found the limit to what LEGO Fortnite could handle. I had placed too many blocks in too much of a complex way, and now the game wouldn't let me build anymore. Suddenly the dream, the life, and the wife that I had imagined working towards had dissolved right before my eyes. I was so deeply excited to build this project, but now there was nothing I could do. I tried to keep building, I tried to work around it, but the game wouldn't let me place any more of my bricks. I became like Dr. Freeze, with the City of Plastic run becoming my frozen bride. It's very feasible that at that moment a large deposit of dopamine was destroyed and replaced with a void of confusion. Why do you have to take everything that makes me happy? Peter wasn't enough! Jokes aside, this really did bum me out, and I never played LEGO Fortnite again. I simply had no reason to. Why would I play a building game where I couldn't trust that my builds would be able to be completed? For once, my only limit wasn't my imagination, but the game I was playing. So not only was LEGO Fortnite lacking in content, but even the fundamental ability to build was broken. 8 months later, the problem seems to be fixed, but I'm not convinced this game is a worthy recipient of my time. For all I know, the complexity limit could hit me again later down the line, since I was very early on my build project when it first appeared. 1 out of 10. Rocket Racing was the least popular game for a reason. Not only
I really do think, oh my god, where the fuck? Okay. I feel like, now understanding his full reasoning, I'm assuming he uses him pronoun. Fuck. I assume that's the pronouns he's utilizing, but I feel, I mean, I understand where he's coming from the perspective of, hey, I wanted to build this large-scale project, but I'm prevented by the confines of the game. And I understand it's demoralizing, but kind of, to me, it seems like, well, what can you do? Well, number one, you could downscale your build. If this is something you really want to accomplish, then you should be able to work within the confines of the game. And it's not like, Fortnite has never had this issue. If I remember correctly, back when Creative first came out, it had a build limit. Even now, to this very day, creative maps in general still have maximum, capacity that they can hold on to. I understand the perspective of being upset, because you seem really passionate about it, and I'd be upset too. But if this is something you really want to do and you're gonna throw away because the game's like no, and you don't think maybe I can tone this down a little bit, maybe we can cut some corners here, it just seems like and then to disregard the whole mode because of it is that's kind of weak sauce. I'm not even gonna lie. That's some weak ass behavior. But Rocket Racing is coming up next. I feel like I'm gonna agree with everything he has to say because I did not give a fuck about this mode. I still don't give a fuck about this mode. Epic Games could drop the baddest woman in history in the item shop that's exclusive to this mode, and then I get my credit card details. We gonna let them cook.
He didn't lack an interesting selection of maps, but its gameplay was super cut and dry. You can accelerate, boost, drift. Sure, it plays great, the wall riding is slick and the driving is smooth, but this has to be one of the most uncreative games on Fortnite's platform. This game has less complexity than only up Fortnite, and at the moment, probably less players too. This game...
Are you not gonna mention the double jump? And like, I've seen people do low-key crazy ass skips. Like, ooh, I just realized it's been on my face this whole time. But I've seen people do crazy ass skips in this game mode. Like, if you really get into speedrunning it, I see the appeal. Even though for me, I just don't think it's for me. And Rocket Racing just seems like in general one of those hyper, like, they want you to speedrun it, one, and then two, it just seems like a game that kind of is based around replaying the same maps over and over again. And I feel like if you can't appreciate what Rocket Race has to offer, you just don't like racing games. Like, it's not supposed to be like Mario Kart, right? It's like, I think of Rocket Racing more akin to like a more video gamey-esque Forza, right? I just think that point of it's just so fucking off the mark, but
feels like the equivalent of walking without the mental health benefits. It felt like CSGO surfing, but not as cool. It's a boring game, and that's coming from me, the guy who doesn't need a lot to be entertained. The only time I could bear to play this game was when I wanted to do something while listening to a podcast. And I don't think that's what the devs were going for. It's a bland game that barely has anything in it to make it complex. The skill ceiling feels so low you have to trench crawl to get through it. It's the most rudimentary racing game I'll probably ever play, almost like it was created just to fulfill a corporate checkbox.
Hey guys, we own Rocket League now, and I don't want to end up like that guy from Smiling Friends, the chicken nugget guy, so let's put it to good use, alright? Let's make a racing game with this.
Alright, are we gonna make the game interesting? The only good thing I will say about Rocket Racing is that out of the 3 games, it felt the least glitchy. Speaking of glitchy, Fortnite Festival was the least polished game of the 3. This is basically Fortnite Guitar Hero. Sounds awesome in concept, but the problem was that it was released with an incredibly small selection of songs. In fact, there was such a small selection that it actually caused people to fixate on the small amount of songs they could play. Since Bad Romance was one of the only songs on the roster, it actually had a mini revival. People listened to that song so many times that a whole nother generation became obsessed with it. Solely because sometimes your only choice would be between playing that or The Search by NF, which went on to be known as The Search for Better Music. The game mechanics here were similar to Rocket Racing in that they took no more than a couple sessions to master. Hit the notes, fiddle the triangle notes, and occasionally press
But that's how rhythm games are. Have you never played a fucking rhythm game in your life? Like, unless you go to like an arcade, I've never played a rhythm game where I couldn't understand how it worked within the first couple of fucking songs, right? I feel like the point of it having a small selection at the start, right? That's a fair point, but let's not act like it hasn't been fixed now, right? And they've been slowly trickling in songs, and to me, it's like, hey, we're gonna give you a small selection at launch, but we're gonna trickle it in, so you're constantly coming back. Like, I've had friends like, hey, Linkin Park is in the game, let's hop on. Oh, hey, Tupac in the game, hop on. Boogie's in the game, right? That's their idea. That's, to me, them trying to like rope you back and returning to the game. And I get the point of, hey, this has a small song selection. I'm a little bit disappointed, but to say the whole game is dog shit because it had a small song selection on launch is probably the dumbest take I've heard in this video so far, and we're only halfway through, give or take.
The spacebar. If I'm correct, this is pretty close to the Guitar Hero formula. But the thing is, there's a very big difference between Fortnite Festival and Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero songs can get really difficult to play, and you can spend days trying to master their difficulty. That's where a lot of people get hooked on it. It's that mastery. But Fortnite Festival songs do not get on that same level of difficulty. I could play any song on expert mode in a few tries, and that's the highest difficulty. Additionally, the game is glitchy.
An expert song. I disconnected or something happened. My whole notes have just stopped.
I don't know, to me this seemed like a little bit of a skill issue. I'm sorry this happened to you, but I played Festival when it came out. I played that for a good month. I've never had this shit happen to me. I've never seen anybody report about this, so this could be I guess a confirmation bias. But I don't know. Like, I get you being upset that it didn't quite work on launch, but I mean...
Oh, shoot, my notes are going again.
I don't know enough about how it performs today, but Weeks into playing it after it first came out, there were glitches regularly happening. About 1 in 5 games would suffer from an interruption. Sometimes that would be the camera lingering on the stage for a couple minutes too long, with the game not being able to start, and other times there would be a crash if you emoted at the wrong time. Some people even figured out how to break outside of the game's bounds. With all that being said, I would be lying if I said the game didn't have its moments. Seeing Omni-Man shred Everlong is hilarious, but once that loses its novelty, the game feels pretty hollow. If it was presented on a smaller scale, like a limited time event, that would make sense. But this is a game mode that was propped up along the likes of LEGO Fortnite and Battle Royale, and it just does not match their caliber. While the content of these games may have been lacking, the microtransactions certainly weren't. But the funny thing is, they were also a bust. No one's buying this stuff. Allow me to present to you some of the dumbest items that have become purchasable with these games.
Let's go.
For Rocket Racing, you've got car builds, decals, wheels, trails, and boosts that you can stare into to help you fall asleep faster. If you want to play songs in Fortnite Festival without them being in the free rotation, it will cost you 500 V-Bucks for the right to play them. They do function as emotes, which you can use in Battle Royale, but they're stuck on a stem player system where you can only play one part of your song at a time. This means that unless you can find 3 other people who dished out the 500 V-Bucks for your favorite song, you'll have to perform a Buddy Holly acapella, or just play the bass riff, which is like really weird. I don't know why you'd just do that, but a lot of the virtual junk that now pollutes the store also comes from Festival. Microphones, guitars, bass guitars, and instrument emotes. You know well that no one is buying any of this stuff in September 2024. But fear not, sometimes Festival has a battle pass. This is 1 page long, yet it costs 850 more V-Bucks than the regular battle pass. It's almost twice as expensive for 1 page.
Something I was going to touch on is I actually agree with that point, and that's part of the reason why I'm not too invested in playing Festival to this day. Is I feel like 500 was a little too much to be asking. But then I think back to when Fortnite had started incorporating dances, and a lot of controversy came up about people not getting credited, people not having the rights. And to me, when I see that 500 V-Bucks, and I think about, hey, you know, obviously the label has to take a cut, and maybe it feels like, in a longer way, I'm being able to support the artists that I enjoy, right? And so y'all might say I'm bootlicking in the comments, but I heavily disagree. I feel like $500, considering now you can use that as a lobby track, you can use it as a jam track emotes. Mentioning the fucking acapella shit is so whatever. It's like, dog, is it really that much of a deal breaker to me? But in general, I don't know, when I want to play like a rhythm game, I'm not really hopping on Fortnite in general, unless I'm doing like an XP glitch. But in general, like, I don't think that's too strong of a point. If anything, I'd argue Festival was like the most complete mode, especially when they added that battle mode back last season. I thought that was pretty fun and enjoyable, right? But I don't know, the Festival Pass too, when you add up the value you're getting off of all the songs bare minimum, I think you're almost approaching even. And then on top of that, you get the icon skin of whatever artist, right? And I get being a little bit upset that it costs too much, but like realistically, you're paying what, 1,800 V-Bucks? You're getting songs, you're getting emotes, you're getting the artist skin of the season, right? Which a lot of times our artists are not a lot of times because it's only been 3. But I fuck with the Weekend Heavy. I pay 1,800 V-Bucks for a skin. Did I do it back then? Well, I'm a broke college student. Fuck no. But like, to me, it just seems like, yeah, you got to progress through it, but it's incentive to keep playing, right? Which, I don't know. It is expensive though. I will not argue on that point. It is a little bit costly, but I mean, it kind of is an investment that you will keep returning to play because you want to complete the pass. You want to get your 1,800 V-Bucks back. Oh, and then a lot of times the artists who are in the game also have a shop variant. Like for the Weeknd, his shop variant kind of shits on the Festival one, but the Festival one kind of looks like Ichiban. That's funny.
LEGO Fortnite had one of these too, which reminds me, even though LEGO Fortnite barely received any updates, there was one way to get more content, and it sucks. A bit after LEGO Fortnite came out, these kits started appearing in the shop, and they are probably the saddest item that I will mention in this video. These are basically 3D instruction kits with what I believe are exclusive bricks. You pay to be able to build an exclusive structure in your world, like a Der Burger restaurant, just a couple evolutionary steps away from NFTs. Especially since people were able to build pretty similar stuff for free. For a virtual instruction kit, it's probably like 500 V-Bucks. Nope, 2,000 V-Bucks. Basically $20 for this ridiculous sell. You could buy a real Lego kit with that money. That's the
That's
sad
a fair point
dystopian
too.
part.
I'm not gonna argue
buy
that.
a real kit. It's insultingly close to the piece to price ratio of a real Lego set for something that isn't real. We got people paying to build a virtual Lego set before GTA 6. I am going to give credit where credit is due and applaud Epic for where they weren't greedy. Because the cool thing about Lego mode, and another reason why it's such a shame it's not more supported, is that the skins and emotes you already own from Battle Royale can be used in Lego format at no additional cost. Which to some of you might seem like the bare minimum, but I'm honestly surprised this happened. However, because LEGO Fortnite was more rushed than a Town Hall 11 with level 8 walls, many of the skins were still under construction on release. Dozens of them had to have placeholder skins that look like half-baked bootlegs, and countless emotes were also missing. This is obviously because the LEGO dev team clearly didn't have enough time to adapt them all. Do you notice how many problems a rushed release creates? All of these cosmetics have done an excellent job of cluttering the game's UI and filling up the shop with stuff that no one's going to buy. Because the locker section has to contain all of these miscellaneous cosmetics, it's way less intuitive than it used to be. And every time you look at a skin in the shop, there's a good chance you'll see a Lego version on the same skin stapled on to give it more value. And it just feels like a real and Bumblebee moment if you don't play Lego Fortnite anymore, because it crushed your dreams. I mean, think about it. The average player is only playing Battle Royale or community games and can't use these items. But now they're gonna have to see and sort through all of this junk on a regular basis. I feel bad for whoever works on Fortnite's shop, because having to include and manage all of these random items that have various values must be a headache. All for Rocket Racing to have Toontown level player counts. And the thing is, because they introduced all of these cosmetics that are tied to dying games, the baggage that Fortnite must now carry is going to be a continuous burden. Unless they want to hurt their reputation, they can't just stop supporting these games. But the player counts for the games are only going to continue to dwindle because no matter what update you introduce to these games, the novelty is already gone and most players are never coming back. So Epic has to keep renewing licenses.
But can't you argue that novelty point for literally fucking any game mode ever? Like, a lot of the times during a Fortnite season, hey, the gimmicks are old. I'm not, like, I've done everything on the game mode. I've gotten all the mythics. Like, at this point, I'm only really playing to increase my battle pass count. Like, to sit there and be like, yo, the novelty's worn off. Epic Games comes like, yo, we updated the game. We added more content. No. We don't want your more content. So what the fuck do you want at this point then? Like, I get the point of arguing the game should have been more complete at launch. That's a fair point to argue, right? But to kind of like pin it back and like throw it back as in like, oh, these games weren't finished because you couldn't use certain skins. When if I remember correctly, I could be completely off base, but I remember Hypex had tweeted out some insider ass info talking about that. Yo, they got to work through the licensing agreements and stuff like that, and that takes time. And when you're on like certain schedules, you gotta turn your shit in. Right, and you know what? I'm happy that they continue to support Lego Fortnite and allows you to use your cosmetics and stuff, because they also have like the ESRB ratings and shit they have to like kind of account for when you're playing Lego Fortnite. I think that update was low key crazy, but I don't know, like to say, oh, I don't want more content, the novelty is worn off. It's such a fucking entitled ass thing to say. It's like, that's kind of crazy, because you could argue that for any fucking game ever. Oh, I'm tired of playing Black Ops Zombies. Oh, hey, we had a new map. No, keep your fucking map. I don't want it. I'd rather just not play the game. Like, you just sound kind of fucking stupid, respectfully.
For old songs and purchasing new ones. They have to keep building metaverse real estate Lego sets no one's using, and they have to keep producing new guitars. It's just funny and sad how a giant like Epic Games is now stuck in this predicament because of their own poor judgment. So, what should they have done differently? Let these games bake for another year or two and introduce them one at a time. Instead of sending out unfinished games 3 at a time because you need to have a fireworks show every time 10 seasons have ended, take your time and don't rush something that's going to be a long-term investment. Nowadays, these games have improved and have been given more content. Not really Lego Fortnite, still kind of nothing going on there somehow. But because of how they were rushed at their launch, they permanently lost momentum that they're never going to get back. A wise man once said, "A delayed game is eventually good."
I hate this fucking quote. I hate this quote so fucking much. Matter of fact, I'd argue you just ruined the whole video with this quote, because a delayed game is eventually good. Cyberpunk was delayed so many times. How did that game launch? Duke Nukem Forever was delayed quite a number of times. How did that game launch? Could you explain that? We could argue, hey, Call of Duty development got so bad. What game was that? I think it was like Modern Warfare, I want to say 2. They delayed that. Ooh, and it was bad and underbaked on launch. Ooh, damn. Right, but a rush, it's such a fucking dated ass quote, especially too because now when games have the ability to update themselves and fix a game, right? No Man's Sky, the biggest example ever. They dropped the game. Game was dog shit, disgusting, horrific. You know what they did? They shut up and they locked in. And now No Man's Sky has won several community awards. Right? They won at the Game Awards. They won best a dev team or whatever. I think it was. I don't know off the top of my head, because they went back and they dedicated themselves to fixing the game. Cyberpunk 2077, it launched in a horrific state on a lot of old-gen consoles and PC. In fact, it got so bad that Microsoft and Sony were letting people refund the fucking game. And they went back and they fixed the game. Now, is it okay that the game launched in that state? Absolutely not. But to argue that a delayed game, because all you're doing is pushing back the inevitable. Concord came out. That game just shut off. It shut off faster than it shut off faster than it took to make the fucking game. That game got delayed like shit. Like, if anything, one of the worst parts about the modern gaming world in general is how much longer these games are taking to make, because they're too expensive, because they want to do too many things. I agree with the point that they should have downscaled these modes and introduced them one at a time, and it would have helped a lot more and had people coming back to the game more often, right? That's a fair point to make. But I hate this idea. Let's look at some of the most dick roll games of all time, or not dick roll, but some of the greatest games. Majora's Mask is probably my favorite fucking example to mention. Oh, a delayed game is eventually good, but rich games forever bad. They made that game in 11 months. 11 fucking months. Smash Bros. Melee, another incredible fucking rush job. Matter of fact, that game to this very day is broken in some areas. I think Game & Watch Shield doesn't even fucking work. Kirby's back throw you can jump out of. That game was rushed to hell, and some people still argue it's one of not only the greatest Smash Bros. Game, but it's also one of the greatest competitive games of all fucking time. Right? Rushing through something has become so normalized in the industry to where when you get closer to release, you're going to be in crunch time. I know Rockstar Studios had a bunch of issues going on because, hey, they were like, yo, y'all need to come to the office. Y'all need to lock in because it is crunch season. You're going to be working 7 days a week with no overtime. Because, hey, sometimes to make good shit, you got to bleed a little bit. You gotta have to run through some things. You're gonna have to leave things on the cutting room floor and be like, yo, we can circle back to that if we get an opportunity to, but hey, we gotta make sure we finish this shit, right? And to me, using this quote feels like you really kind of don't understand the landscape and how things look now. And it's even more so, there definitely are examples of a delayed game or a game being made in secret. I believe Mario Wonder was a game, but they were like, hey, there was no crunch involved. In fact, Nintendo was like, hey, here you go. Take your time. Whatever. Like the SpongeBob meme where it's Patrick, Gary, SpongeBob, and the Pet Rock all having a snail race. And Patrick's like, yo, take your time. And the Nintendo team came back and it was like, yo, here's Mario Wonder. And it has been looked at as one of the greatest Mario games of all time because they were able to take their time and cook with it. But to a certain extent, there are times when you gotta lock in, shut the fuck up. Peep game and lock in. I don't know. Using this quote is so fucking disingenuous and not even remotely fucking true. Right? Didn't fucking Fortnite start off as a dog ass rush job because PUBG was blowing the fuck up and Epic was like, shit, we could do that. Let's lock in. And look at where it's at now. Another, I believe, because I was going to say, no, isn't World at War the game that kicked off the zombies mode? That was a fucking rush job. That was patched, held together by fucking glue sticks and fucking microfiber cloths. And look where it's at now. A rush game can be good. And nowadays, for Shigeru Miyamoto at that time, I'd argue it's a little bit disingenuous, but I can understand where he's coming from because this was the era where if you dropped a dog shit game, only way you could fix it is by making a whole new game or re-releasing the game. Like, this quote just isn't applicable to today's times.
But a rushed game is forever bad. Sure, these games have their audiences and they're not unplayable, but their potential was wasted. Based on my criticism, you might take me for someone who just wants to see Fortnite fail, because I'm a Minecraft-obsessed Redditor. But the reason why I get so critical about Fortnite is because I truly like the game. And when it does stuff right and goes in the right direction, it's always an awesome experience. I wanted these games to succeed. I poured time into LEGO Fortnite because I saw the potential in it and wanted to work on it until it was unplayable for me. You know, Fortnite Festival? I actually purchased a total of 10 jam tracks to play with, which in total is an investment of 5,000 V-Bucks. You can tell I really wanted to have fun with these games. I wanted them to be good. But the ego behind this company just repeatedly ruins good potential. If these games had more time to be fleshed out, I guarantee they would have been at the same level of popularity that Battle Royale has and have been able to sustain it. But instead,
not. Absolutely not. No. See, even with the idea of Fortnite being a hub, at the end of the day, primarily people are playing that game to play as Gojo, one pumping Goku, while Itadori is fighting Eren Yeager and Spider-Man whips down. The Battle Royale is always going to be the main pool of Fortnite, but it's also, it's going to be the main pool, but it's like, hey, you got other doors you can go through, but it doesn't matter because you're still within our Epic Games ecosystem, right? Like, I think this video is somewhat disingenuous. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like it made a whole bunch of points that I would agree with. It feels I'm so close to agreeing with you, but your reasoning is like fucking some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Right? Lego Fortnite not having content. Fair. I agree with you on that point. The cosmetics being overpriced. Definitely another great point. The cosmetics inflating the prices of skins, just taking up space in the item shop, how it ruined the locker. Definitely fair points to bring up. And I agree with you on those. But your reasoning and like some of the reasons why you gave up on the game, like if you felt like Epic was like dog ass, right, and you feel like they didn't do a good enough job at supporting these game modes, why would you then continue to support and buy? Like in my opinion, you like don't buy something that you don't like. Spending $50 on fucking jam checks is low-key crazy as hell. It's crazy as hell, especially if you're like, hey, I can beat these songs are easy, right? Like, in my opinion, if you really want to sit there and you want to buy a song because the song is challenging, it's hard, or it has good charting and you enjoy it, right? Wait till a free session and then you play that fucking song. Then you come to a decision on your own. It seems like you improperly, or you didn't properly evaluate the return cost and your own personal enjoyment, then went to go spend money and the turnaround got mad, right? But do you got something to say in these last like 12 seconds or something?
They were unfortunately used as cheap gimmicks to hype up Chapter 5, and they are now destined to linger on the platform as niche side projects. A complete failure based on the amount of resources this company has. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm Lufa.
Like, especially when you're talking about the multiverse, if you want, like, I feel like a way better way he could have like maintained, or not maintained, but collect his thoughts and make an argument is he were to argue about the assimilation of Fortnite and how Fortnite seems to not be interested in creating unique experiences, but instead would rather assimilate and grab a bunch of shit and incorporate within their own to kind of form some sort of monopoly. You could bring up the fact that the Rock Band portion of Fortnite Festival is made by the Rock Dev developers. Why make something on your own when you could just get the people who made that shit and be like, yo, make this shit right now. Get back to work. Make Rock Band now. Right? That's definitely a fair point. We could have talked about Epic just fucking buying shit left, right, and center. You could mention the failed incorporation of the Fall Guys shit. It was on the map in Chapter 5, Season 3. It's nowhere on Chapter 5, Season 4. I think that's the season we're in. But only for it to be thrown into creatives. Like, hey, you can make creative maps. Hey, we kind of got Fall Guys like characters. Hey, and the whole time, it like when you play Fall Guys in Fortnite or just Fortnite in general, and you go back and play Fall Guys through the original game that's now free to fucking play, you realize, hey, They fucked up the physics. How do you fuck up the physics when you own the damn game? Like, that's a fair point you could have brought up. Like, if you want to argue about the metaverse experiment, I feel like it was poorly structured. Opening up on Peter Griffin was a dumbass thing you could have done. I'm keeping it real with you. It was a dumb thing. I'd argue the amalgamation would have been a way better kind of attempt to articulate how you truly feel about the current state and direction that Epic Games is heading in. You could have mentioned the decaying corpse that has saved the world, something that kind of attempted to do what Lego Fortnite is attempting to do, but in a way worse kind of, or not way worse, but it had potential. It was something, an experience that you can only truly get from playing Fortnite, right? The same way you're playing Battle Royale. Battle Royale is like, in Fortnite is only something you can experience in Fortnite. It's not like, hey, you can go out and you can play PUBG and you gotta deal with the PUBG clones. No, Fortnite is top one because there is no other game that can come and replicate the success, not only the success that Battle Royale had, but the same pool. And especially with the collabs and shit that they're doing, it seems to me that they're trying to cement themselves as being more like trying to go down the Roblox direction. And I feel like if you would have took that angle and made a video out of that, instead of just fucking yammering for 17 minutes, it definitely would have went a little bit better. We gonna peep some of these comments before I head out. I'm probably gonna automatically upload this. I don't even think I'm gonna edit this all too much because I just think this was not fire. I'll never forgive them for how badly they butchered the locker UI. Jokes aside, when is the damn loading screen gonna change? Still hate the ending of Fortnite 6-year storyline. Yeah, fair point yet again. I mean, you could argue it does kind of fall on Donald Mustard because I believe he had hopped out and he had said, yo, my last season is, I believe it was chapter 3, season 3. He was like, I just wanted to be a chill, low-key season so I can, like, ride off into the sunset. But, you know, that's fair. Rocket Racing seemed least glitchy, bro. I think you're playing a different game. That's fair. Feels Fortnite say the world had abandoned, has more players, which it does. It has. Actually, the only one it has more players in, like, unironically, is Rocket Racing consistently. Trading to put Rocket Racing into Fortnite. Yeah, that's a fair point you could have brought up. I completely forgot about Epic Games' acquisition of Rocket League. Yeah, see? Another quick arc. I don't know. That's really how I feel about this video. I think I don't like it. I don't think it's I did not enjoy this video. I feel like his arguments were not supported properly. They were kind of weak. Especially by attempting to argue that the metaverse experiment has failed, when you could have extrapolated much further and went more specific. Saying the metaverse failed is kind of too broad, especially when you didn't touch on certain topics in the way that I think you should have. But I don't know. That's just how I feel about this video. I'm probably gonna raw upload this because I really don't feel like editing this. I think this video was kind of ass. But hey, game is game. Lufa, you definitely I can see your audience. You definitely got some jokes. You got jokes. You seem like a pretty down to earth, not down to earth, but you seem like a pretty humorous individual is what I'll say. But yeah, that's all I really got for you. Let me know if y'all fuck with reaction videos like this. I might do another. I might not. But yeah, change Sean, let me get the fuck up out of here.